Hello, my dreamers. It's Sky here, and welcome to part 3 of our February color along. I'm a little bit late recording this, so we are just going to dive on in. We've been working in Tales from the Midnight Masquerade by Hanna Karlzon. If you haven't watched the first couple parts, definitely feel free to go do so. The page that we've been working on is this candy clown lady. This is what we have done so far, so not too much to go left. I've been a little bit stumped on color choices, and I also hurt my arm a little bit for a little bit there, and my wrist was bothering me, so I've tried to give it a break from coloring. I feel better today, so let's see where we can get done. I think we're gonna start on her hat because that's really the only thing I know what color to do. I feel like I've kept the colors fairly limited so far, so now I'm just like not sure if I want to add any new colors or what colors to add or how many. I'm just kind of starting to overthink. So the hat for sure I know I want to be like black or like a purpley grayish black kind of thing, and we have Miss Miko in here, so of course she's going to be in the way. But yes, we're going to start there and then kind of base off of that. I want to just base everything with the dark purple, I think. If I put that there, yeah, we can still see it. Okay. I do have a piece of paper tucked in behind this page as well, just to protect the tooth of the paper on the pages behind it. Don't know if I really want to do the rim any different. Let's just base all of it with the purple except for this, because I'm not too sure what color that will be. This side ended up a little bit darker thanks to the ditch. It's a little bit hard to control the amount of pressure you're putting there, but this side should probably be darker anyways because all of our shadows are on this side, right? Because we decided, yeah, the shadows are kind of coming this direction at her, so anything kind of on this side will be a little bit more shaded. So let's just dive on in and start adding our black in there, I think. put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I wonder, I'm also going to turn my light off just so there's no shadow kind of behind me. We have enough natural daylight, we shouldn't need my light. So I'm just going to add some more layers to this. I think I want to make like the rim of the hat as if it like stands up a little bit. So this part might be like a little bit darker maybe. Okay, I like that. I hate that I can't get into that groove more. Super annoying. I do want to like really darken up these areas. I don't think I'm going to use black here, but we will add a little bit of black on the bottom side for this brim on the bottom. So I want to kind of match the level of darkness on the side of the hat, but I don't want to bring it out as far. We want this side to be a little bit lighter. Realistically, we want the whole hat to be black, or at least that's the goal. We'll kind of see how it turns out, but different levels of black, so different shades, I suppose. I don't know, I definitely still struggle coloring black objects because you need to have that undertone color, and then you can't just color the whole thing straight up black, otherwise it's going to have no dimension whatsoever to it. but then you're also unsure how much black to add to it. And if you add a lot of grays, then a lot of the times it no longer looks black, it looks grayed out. I think this is looking okay so far though, hopefully. I'm gonna add a little bit of some shadows here. Okay, hold on, our light's going this way, so nope, sorry, the shadow will be on this side. So just make that fairly dark and fade that out. This side too. Kind of make this kind of like a curved shadow, so it's curving towards the bottom here. And then just fade that out nicely. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Let's start bringing in some other shades in here. So we'll come in with the 90% cool gray, which is still fairly dark, but we're mostly going to kind of bring this in over top of the black. It kind of helps add another layer, and then we can kind of bring that out a little bit farther and see how it looks. maybe fade it out here. I think that's okay. Let's add maybe a little bit of this. The bottom's here, fade it up a little bit. Just 1 second, Miss Miko wants out. I'm going to bring it out fairly far with the 90% gray since we want the side of the hat to be darker. I'm also going to go over the little bit of shadow we have here, but I'm not really going to bring it up too much. I'm going to go concentrate mostly on the very bottom shadow where it's going to be the darkest. It's looking good so far. Okay, let's go in with the 70% cool gray next. Same thing, I'm just going to kind of put this into the shadows and bring it out a little ways. We'll just lightly layer it in here, kind of get a feel for it, see how it looks. I don't actually know if I would actually want to go much lighter than this one. I was originally thinking about using the 50% cool gray as well, but I'm going to set that aside because I don't think we actually want it. I think if we use that, it's going to end up looking a little too light, more gray than black, and that is definitely not what I want. So I'm just going to go in and add some of the 70% cool gray over the shadows, bring it and fade it up a little bit. We're not super close to being burnished yet in most places, so we can still go in with our darker colors and darken up some of these areas more, but just want to see how exactly it's going to look so far. I'm going to fade this right up to the end. Okay. Let's go back in with our black. I'm gonna sharpen this guy. Spend this whole part just on the hat. Make sure it's black. I'm in the habit of checking the barrels of my pencils now because a lot of the times I pick up the wrong one and then don't realize it until it's too late. So I'm not pressing any firmer, but definitely in these areas we are pretty much burnished. So I just want to make sure they're nice and dark. My ear was itchy. I have eczema in my ears and it's terrible. Honestly, it's absolutely awful. Especially right now because it's winter and everything's dry and oh man. Okay, let's darken up the bottom rim here. I am going to add a little bit of black to this one, might as well. I'm not going to go like full force with it, but I'm going to shade over it a little bit to darken up those colors so it looks a little bit more black and less gray. We might use a blender pencil to burnish this, I think. It'll kind of give us that satin kind of look, and I think that would look kind of neat. Okay, pretty happy with the rim of the hat now. So redefine our shadows here, add a little bit more black pigment to them. Okay, we'll fade the black out around there. And 90% gray is next. So I'm not really going to go into the dark shadows again, but I am going to go from where it's fading out from and add a little bit of the 90 gray to help it fade out. And then I think we're actually going to have that purple peek through a little bit for the kind of like the highlights or like the base color of the hat. I think we have quite enough darkness in here that it won't be overpoweringly purple, but hopefully it'll just like give a little hint that this is a, I don't know, I want to say a purple black hat because that doesn't really make sense, but I don't really know how to explain it. We'll just trust the process. Okay, so right from where we blended out, Let's add some decent layers of this. Let's just lightly go over all of this area too. I'm a little bit afraid that the 70% might be a little bit too gray. So I don't want to go super dark with this, but I do want to have just a little bit more of this pigment to help. We're going to skip the 70% gray. I'm happy with how much of that we put in, but let's go back in with our dark purple. And let's just layer some of this pigment over top. We're going to go over pretty much everything, I think. And just using light layers, just enough to get that color in here a little bit so it's a little bit more prominent when we blend. Well, burnish and blend both, while we do both. Just keep adding that little bits of purple in places where you think you might need it. If you can't see the purple peeking through, you probably need a little bit more of it. I think this should be okay, hopefully. Now, moment of truth, and I'm probably going to speed this part up. Oops. I'm going to grab my blender pencil. I'm going to start here. I'm going to start in the, like on the rim, I'm going to start in the lighter area and then pull down. Try and work that all together kind of like this. Because I want the purple to be a little bit more prominent in the rim. And then in the darker areas, like both of these and then the hat, I'm going to shade going this way. So from darkest to lightest. And with that, I will meet you guys back.
Been waiting for so long. The winds have grown strong. The birds have come and gone. I'm looking every day, but you might still be 1,000 miles away. Do you know I'm holding on? I've been looking in the distance as I sing our song. Da 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 You took your shield and sword, said you have to go, left me.
There we go. I actually very much like that. So you can definitely see that it is meant to be a black top hat, but it has that like underglow of purple to it. And on that note, I don't know, ooh, look at that. Yeah, my hand's purple. I don't know what other colors to add to this. So I'm gonna erase my hand here. I'm also just gonna gently, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you can definitely see that there's some of the pigment that I have kind of like rubbed over the tooth of the paper, and the tooth of the paper is picking it up. Same with on like the tip of this candy cane here. It's not too bad, but I'm just gonna try and get rid of some of it. I don't know what other colors to add in here. I was kind of debating maybe like a pinkish orange or like a really bright orange, but I'm just not sure. I don't know what color to do to the candy canes. We need some other color in here. I do want to do these. I was originally thinking like a bluey gray, like a bluey white, but I think we'll do these like a gray white. So then the opposite color on the candy cane will be a gray white with whatever color we go through there. I don't know about the ribbon, and I have absolutely no idea about her bottom like neck bit. We definitely do need to tie some of this down here. So I'm wondering, so we could pretend that her shoulders kind of come out here. Realistically, her shoulder would be here, so we wouldn't really see this, but we can just leave it there. But this bottom part, we can kind of color in the same color as her top hat, as if she's wearing like a shirt that kind of matches her top hat. And then we could potentially do either like the strings or this part also that color. I don't know which. And then this would be whatever color this ends up being. I'm still leaning towards pink for her cheeks. Whether we put pink somewhere else or not, I'm not sure. And then I don't know about her lips or her eyes. Eyes or eye makeup, realistically. I am pretty confident in doing this kind of the same as up here, so let's do that. And then since we know these, we can start on them. We might as well. And then there's less to do later when we decide what to do. Should we just kind of black this out though, I wonder? I think I'm going to. So this, her shoulder is technically going to be coming out like right here. And this one, we're not really going to see her shoulder, so it's fine. We would see all these ruffles. So let's, oh, sorry, swatches. Oh my goodness. No, never mind, we're good. I thought I was using the 50% instead of the 90% or something because I had it up there, but we did use it. We're good. Just gonna take a sip of my coffee here. Oh, maybe we should let's try and do it in the same order that we did the last time. So let's just layer all these areas that we're going to color with the black purple, no, the dark purple. Oops. That'll be, I don't know if I said it already, but I'm gonna say it again just in case I didn't, and if I say it twice, it means I definitely mean it, but I cannot wait until we're done coloring in the ditch. I feel like I might have said it in my head, but then I'm like, did I say that out loud already? I'm not sure. But if I did say it, it's still as true as when I first said it. Kind of got distracted there. All right, so let's add some black. Just kind of follow the outline here. We definitely want it pretty dark in here to kind of hide this line. So let's bring the black kind of all the way down here. Let's fade it off here and figure out where our shadows would be. So under here, for sure, this would be kind of shadowed. Along here. This already makes it look like she's not just a floating head, so definitely helping. This is probably just going to be fairly dark. Okay. I don't know how far down I want to bring this black, but we're gonna have to keep it fairly dark to here. Maybe let's just fade it out from here. So that way, because most of these are smaller areas, so we're not gonna have much purple. So here can be kind of like our main area with where it's showcasing the purple a little bit more. So let's just like lightly blend down to that. I think that looks pretty good. So let's go in with our 90% now. I'm gonna, where can I put this where it's kind of out of my way? There, but you guys can still see it. So let's layer some of this in here. It's going to be a little bit tricky in the ditch to do this, but we're going to try our best. Make sure this paper is snug in there, it keeps trying to fall out. I wonder actually. We could just do light gray. I mean, we do need another color for the candy canes, but it might be nice to have this kind of light gray, have it very light. I'm gonna have to think on that. I have a little bit of an idea, but I feel like we still need another color in here. I don't know what to add where it's not going to throw off the balance. We need something that's going to add to the picture and not distract from what we already have going on. if that makes sense. I don't know. Okay, so 70% cool gray is next. So we're just going to bring it out from there and just lightly go over everything. It's too bad I didn't have like a really, I might have to look. It might be cool to put like just like a really thin washi tape in the line here. It would cut off some of the picture, but it would kind of hide this ugly piece here. I might have to do that. I'll see if I can find like a color that maybe matches this. That'd be great. I don't know if you can see what I'm pointing at up there, but these little orbs. That'd be pretty neat. Just an idea. I'll have to see what I have, but it might be neat. Another option, if we actually, maybe what we should do, because then everybody could do this, it would only take one thing, which would be acrylic paint. We could put a little bit of washi tape and create a border and then just paint in it to create a line. That might be neat too. We'll see what we can do. We could also just leave it like this. It's not bad. It's pretty much inescapable for the most part, so definitely nothing to worry too much about. Okay, let's go back in with our black, darken up these areas even more. This is black, right? Nope. I was gonna say this doesn't look black. See, I can lick the barrel. Did notice though. Thankfully, we didn't increase pressure, so we're good. Really want to darken up around this line here though, so lots and lots of layers here. It's a little bit more hidden. We want to get lots of pigment in there. Okay. And that looks good. Back in with our 90% cool gray. Let's just bring it out from the black. We're not going over the black anymore. And then we'll just lightly color over these areas too, just to darken them up a little bit, because I don't think the 50 or the 70%, is it? Yeah, 70%. I don't think that one's quite dark enough to give us the level of density that we want there. And then lastly, let's go back in with our dark purple over everything and try and really work that pigment in there. We're not increasing any pressure at all, but we're just adding lots of layers of the purple. Just so we can kind of see it poking through. Like here you can see that there's purple in there. That's what we want. We might not be able to achieve that in the darkest areas, which is fine. We're only putting the purple there to kind of help it blend, but definitely want it to be a little bit more noticeable in some of these less dark areas. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And then we're gonna burnish this. Again, I'll probably speed this up just to save us some time.
Now I'm looking at the moon, nothing left of you but this little tune. Do you know I'm holding on? I've been looking in the distance as I sing our song. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da da. The seasons come and go, sun covered in snow, the trees turned into stone. My eyes are slowly closed.
All right, there's that. So what I'm thinking, let's see here, I'm gonna sharpen my blender pencil and kind of clean off the tip just in case. 'Cause the next time I use it, I might not remember to check. Okay, how much of this goes here? Oh, okay. So we can do like an orangey pink for cheeks maybe. Still on the fence on that, but we could do this kind of like a grayed white, leaning more towards the gray side. Grayed white for every other piece of the candy cane, leaning more towards the white side. Same with these, more towards the white side. These little bulbs would be like this. This would be kind of like this. This and this would match. And then I'm uncertain about the rest. I kind of like the idea of having like either this or like the lines match the same color as her shirt and her hat. And then maybe the other one matching the color of the candy canes, which we could actually maybe like do her cheeks, the candy canes, and then either this or this the same color. And since I'm leaning towards kind of like a pinky, kind of orangey tone, kind of like a salmon pink almost is kind of what I'm leaning towards, but like a little bit more on the orange side, I think it would be better to have these match that color. But then there's the problem of her eye makeup. Would we want her eye makeup to match her cheeks? And like same with her lips, or would we want them to be a different color? Like we could do these and her lips, this purple color too, maybe. Maybe we should do that. I think it might look pretty good. I'm really liking this dark purple in contrast with this, because this is pretty much originally the color that I was thinking of for her hair. So yeah, this was the color I was originally thinking of for her hair. All of this looks pretty light, so it's nice to have that kind of dark color to contrast it. I think I'm pretty confident in this. I think that's what I want to go with. And then for the background, I have absolutely no idea. but we should have more than enough time where we can get that kind of gray to white done and out of the way for the most part. Maybe not all of it, because her little flared out part would probably take a little bit, but let's kind of see what we can get done out of the ones that I'm fairly certain on, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so let's start up here in the candy cane spot. So I don't want to make these too dark or anything, and I'm gonna put these here, that way I know which ones I actually use. So I'm gonna go in with the 30% cool gray, and I'm gonna start on this one here. My reasoning for that is just because this got quite a bit of purple on it, so the white is not gonna hide that. So we're gonna do this one white, and then this will be whatever other color we choose, and then hopefully it's enough to kind of hide the purple. So on the right side here of the candy cane, I'm just gonna add some shadows, and then when we get up here, we're gonna kind of switch it to the top to keep it on the right-hand side. Not too sure about the sucker straw too. We could probably do it with this, with the grays. Maybe we'll make it like a darker gray. We'll figure that one out later. All right, let's skip to the 10% cool gray. So I'm gonna go in the shadows a little bit and bring this out, and then just fade it. So we're gonna put a little bit of white in here. Being very careful around the edges, because I don't want to drag any of that purple in here if we can help it. If we did, to the point where it was fairly noticeable, we could just use a Posca pen to kind of blot over it and try and get rid of it. And then lastly for that, we're gonna go in with the white. Give that a nice sharpen, and we're just going to go over everything we just colored with that. Again, being very, very careful on the edges. Okay, so there's that. For this band, oddly enough, we are going to just cover this whole thing with the Deco Peach. Okay, we're gonna make this one a little darker. Oops. Got my sweater through my pencil shavings. It's a knitted sweater. Knitted maybe, I think is what this is. Excuse you. Yeah, just make yourself at home, you crazy cat. Oh my god, Lilo. You can't go anywhere. Ugh, cats. She's in a box that has a bunch of stuff in it. Okay, 70%. To make sure I pick up the right one, because we definitely don't want this too dark. Where is it? That one. Okay, so for the most part, we're going to add this around where we want our darker shadows. So I'm going to add a little bit along the bottom, a little bit on the tops of these. I'm going to add a little bit here, a little bit on the other side, kind of create a shape like that. Same with here and then here. So these are kind of like our indents from our little pieces sticking out of the hat. We can kind of create the tips of them too, which make it look a little bit interesting. So there you can kind of see them separately. It'll blend when we blend everything together. It won't quite look like that. Let me sharpen this just so I have a little bit more of some fine control here. Okay, so just a little bit more along the bottom here. I'm just going kind of on the tops of these little lines drawn in. So this is where the fabric's kind of bunched up, so it would be a little bit shadowed. Let's maybe have this line come out a little bit across there. This one can come out a little bit farther. Maybe like that. I think that looks pretty good. Hopefully the lighting's okay. It should be all right. It's kind of a weird time of day. It's really sunny, but it's not really hitting my window right now. Okay, so we're going to go in with the 30% cool gray. We're going to bring this out from the shadows. So we're just going to kind of go in there a little bit and bring it out a little bit further away. Same thing, kind of using that soft pressure. Don't want to go too crazy yet. We want to build this up a bit. It's definitely better recording in the summer because the sun, we have more sun. The days are longer, but it also is a little bit higher in the sky, so it hits the window a little bit more. I create a little bit of a shadow here just along the side. Bring that out. I'm going to go out on either side of these little lines that we have in here. Just gently going over the whole area. It's a little bit easier than trying to fade it out on both sides. You can just go over the whole thing. It helps blend it out a little bit. It's going to mute it down. Okay, once that starts looking good, let's bring in our 20% cool gray. We probably don't need a lot of this, but I'm going to bring it in a little bit anyways, and I'm just going to bring it off from the 30% and then fade it out in some of these kind of bigger areas where there's more area. Okay, I don't think I want to use white for this one. I want to keep it more grayed. So we are going to go in and burnish with our 10% cool gray. So light, medium pressure. I'm just going to go in and start blending everything together, darkening it up, and burnishing all of it. Again, really watch those areas where we're near the purple. We'll come in with a white later and kind of bring out some highlights on here. But for now, I think this is good. I'm just kind of going straight across to help blend out these lines that we have in here to kind of smudge them. There, how neat does that look? It looks so realistic. It's super cool, super easy to do. Did not take long at all. I don't think we really get much of the pink peeking through, so I think what I'm going to do is let's just go back in a little bit with the pink. This is pretty well burnished, but let's, in some of these lighter areas, let's just add a little bit. So I'm going to add some kind of to the top here, a little bit in this kind of large center area, a little bit at the bottom, some just underneath this line, bring it over a little bit, and then let's just add a little bit on each of these. There, I like that. It looks sheer, but like not at the same time. It's got a really, really unique look to it. So let's work on these little orbs now. Let's see, we're at about 1 hour and 15. I'm just gonna check and see where my battery level is at actually, because it was a little bit low when we started. So let me just see. All right, when I checked the battery on my phone, it was at 12%. So I figured I better plug it in. So I took a break and finished my book, let it charge, and we're back. So let's continue. I think we were gonna do these little orbs next. So let's go ahead and do that. I think I'm gonna make them maybe just slightly the same gray as the candy canes up top, but maybe a little bit less, we'll see. So starting in with the 30% cool gray, I'm just gonna go on the right side of each of these and just give it a little bit of a shadow. I'm not gonna worry about fading this out. I think these parts will be gray too, so I'm just going to add a little bit on the top and bottom of these. Okay, let's go in with the 10%. So I'm just going to bring that out just a little bit from the darker shadow we just put in there. All right, and then lastly, we're going to go in with the white and just go over everything. Perfect. Okay, from here, let's bring out our black again. And now that we have these little orbs colored, we can go in and create a little bit of a highlight to the right of each of them. So I'm outlining on the right side, just adding a little bit of shadow and then just fading it out a little bit just so it blends in with the hair. And then we can add a little bit of a shadow underneath them as well. Definitely makes the bulbs pop out just a little bit more. Gives them that extra kind of oomph. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, and we're just going to go through those same steps for the little balls on the tassels here on her, I don't know what this is, collar, I suppose. Same thing, just adding a little bit of a shadow on the right side. I'm not really worried about fading it out or anything. Just realized a bit of a problem in my earlier plan. If these are gray and we do that gray, it's going to blend together. That could be a problem actually, because I do really want to do this gray. I don't really know what other color to do that. All right, so I will remind myself to put a note in here so you guys don't do that. I'm just going to clean my eraser off, so I'm going to erase that a little bit. Okay, let's start that over. Let's go in with our gray, our 30% cool gray. You guys can see that swatch, right? Yes, okay. I'm wondering if maybe we should leave the rest of this for part 4. I'm kind of running out of daylight actually, and this already is a fairly long part, and part 4 will be super, super short. So really all we have left is the collar, these little bits, and then her face. I don't know if I'm gonna do much of a background. I think we might just do maybe like soft pastel, most likely. I'm not sure what color. If we're gonna have like little pops of pink in here, then we might just do like a little bit of like a pink pastel background and like erase some circles into it, make it kind of look kind of neat like that. I think that might look interesting, but let's, instead of coloring that, we're gonna save that for next time, and then let's just add some highlights and stuff. Let's do that. Okay, so let's add just a couple white lines here. I think I might switch to a Posca pen. I think it might show up better. Let's add some little white dots to this little lollipop as well. I swear these white pens suck. I remember them working so nice, and now they just don't. It seems to be working a little bit better, so maybe that wasn't all for nothing. Okay, so we've got a little bit of white in there. Let's add a little bit of white to the orbs. I think we'll probably end up making these sparkle because I feel like they need it. I don't think we'll do it in this part, but well, maybe, we'll see. These, I think I want to straight up outline. Yeah, let's make them really light. Let's outline these little circle bits too. the pieces kind of connecting the pearls to the baubles. I don't exactly know what they're called. I'm sure there's a name for them, but I think that works out well for now. I do like that. I wonder, this is purely experimental, I'll only put these colors in here if it works, but her skin's pretty burnished, but I want to see if we can add like a little bit of makeup to her. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of the orange, just around here. It seems like it's working. Just want to go really light because I don't want to, this is already pretty burnished. I don't want to wreck it. So just going to add a little bit above and below her eyes, kind of fade it out. And then with the canary yellow, I'm just going to lightly bring that out from the orange and up a little bit farther and fade it out. I'm not going to touch this. So that's going to be a totally different color. I think that looks pretty good. It's a little bit more subtle than it would have been if we had added the makeup in with the skin, but this works. I think it looks a little bit funny for now because her eyelashes aren't very prominent, but once we add those back in, I think it'll look better. But it definitely brightens her eyes up a little bit, so I do like that. So here's how she's looking so far. We only have one more part left to go. I am crazy excited to finish her. I'll maybe play around with colors too and kind of see what we're gonna do. I am thinking, like I said, like a very light orangey peach or like pink color I think would look really good. It's just a matter of kind of figuring out where to place it. We'll see. I'll figure something out. But anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying so far. Hopefully you're as excited to get her finished as I am. If you guys are liking this video, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would help me out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. But as for now, we're going to leave it here and hopefully I'll see you in part 4. All right, guys, as always, take care. Bye.